On today's show, we get into Sean's Kambo cleanse experience, a botched Uber ride in Colombia, and how a blowout trip can remind you of why you left certain bad habits behind. Dude, I don't think I've ever seen you with this much hair. What the fuck's going on with that?
Yeah, so I'm in this process of growing my hair out right now. You've inspired me to let it just like slick it back and party on, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, it's
don't do this.
you remind me of this Doc from Back to the Future.
I've actually gotten that before. Yeah.
Marty. Yeah, Marty.
Yeah.
Did the flux capacitor, Marty.
Yeah. 1.21 gigawatts. You know, when you let it grow for so long, it's almost like, well, now I have to just keep letting it grow, even though it looks really stupid. But I'm just gonna keep going, dude. I don't give a shit. But
yeah, well, I had long hair when I was in high school, and ever since then, it's been like either like buzz cut or a mohawk or a faux hawk. But like this is the longest I've had it in probably 15, 20 years.
yeah,
So
Jesus. Well, that's
yeah,
good though. I mean, cool climates at least. At least you're not like in the super hot place right now, you know. So
it's 18 degrees in Montreal. So yeah, for those of you who are watching, following my journey as well, we're now in Montreal. We went from Mexico or Playa del Carmen to Oaxaca. I got a truck going by me here. Playa del Carmen to Oaxaca City. From Oaxaca, we're in Medellín, Colombia for 40 days. And now we're in Montreal for 6 days. After this, we're going to be in New York for a week, then California for a week, and then Denver for 3 weeks. We're really big hot. Jesus. But yeah, now that we're in this, I told my girlfriend brought it up to me. She's like, yeah, have you ever tried growing your hair? I'm like, would you like that? She's like, yeah. I'm like, well, you try it, right? And I was like, I'm not trying it when we're in Playa del Carmen in the summer because it's so hot.
Well, there's no harm in it, dude. It can always be cut off. But yeah, fucking speaking of travels and everything else, I know it's been a while since we caught up with things. We have a lot to talk about. We'll get to my meditation retreat one of these days. But I know that, last time we did one of these, you were in Medellín, and we had a good convo about that. So how did that trip end, or how did your final time spend there? Anything cool happen, or?
Yeah. So a couple cool things happened. So I ended up actually meeting a couple guys that we ended up connecting really well, and it took me a long time to find friends there. And I think because there's like 3.5 million people in the city, that it's so spread out that it's hard to like find a place where you see the same person every day, become friends with them, get to know them. Where like Playa, it's like you're all congregated in one area. So I finally met some good friends. They're from Chicago and California, and one was from Denver as well, so we met there. But we did a pretty cool. So I think the Monday before we left on a Thursday. We did what was called a Kambo cleanse. So what Kambo is, for those of you who don't know, it is a
both ends, goes in both ends at the same time.
Mostly just a one end cleanse. Mostly just a one end. I did have to shit near the end of it, but
well, it's not a DP cleanse. It's not a double penetration cleanse. It's a combo cleanse.
No. It's violent. It is violent. So it's a couple 100-year-old tradition and not religious, but like sacred passage passed down from the elders. And what they do, I'll give you guys a little. They burn 8 dots.
Get the fuck out of here!
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, that's no joke.
So
oh my God!
They get a hot stick, and they burn 8 dots into your back. And then once the burns are off, they then get the skin from this one specific frog that's in the Amazon. And they put this mucousy skin on the burns, and within minutes, your whole body starts swelling up, you start sweating, and you just puke for 30 minutes.
My God. So this is a real thing. Okay. So what's the name of this thing again? We'll drop it in the show notes for anybody who wants to look it up.
Kambo, Kambo or Kambo. I forget the exact pronunciation of it. So it's been around in Colombia and the Amazon for a long time. And what they actually believed, the way it came from, is the origin of it is when the Spaniards came over to South America and they were bringing all these diseases over, it was just wiping out the population. So this one guy, hundreds of years ago, found out that if he did this, he cut himself or whatever and put this frog poison on, and it actually got rid of all the toxins out of your body and actually helped save these people. So they've had cases of people being cured from AIDS, HIV, herpes, different viruses and diseases, because it basically what it does is it sends all the toxins and poison in your body into your stomach, and that's why you puke it up. So for the first time ever, I was puking yellow and green. My bomb was green and yellow. And so, but prior to it, you start the rapé, you drink 3 liters of water, and while you're puking, they keep giving you water. But it was you know, about 20 minutes in, I was like tapping him, like, I'm done. I don't want any more. It's like, you're doing so good. I'm like, I don't care how I'm doing. I'm done. Like,
My God, man, it's never a dull moment with your travels and stuff, because I'm like, oh, maybe he went to a couple co-working events. And you're like, no, I put this frog venom in me and fucking threw up everywhere. Jesus Christ. Well, that's really cool though. I just looked it up too. I didn't realize it was spelled Kambo. I thought when you said combo, I thought you meant like a combination cleanse. I didn't realize it was some
Kambo or Kambo.
yeah, holy shit, man. All right. So that was one of the last things you did in Colombia then, or what?
Yeah, it was one of the last things we did. And the crazy, so one of the side effects is face and lip swelling. So my girlfriend, she had, a little upper bottom lip. My face, I couldn't see. I was so swollen for a day, like that whole day, because we did it like 10 in the morning, all night, all the rest of that day. I was swollen up. The next day, I had swollen under my eyes. Like, I was like, I'll put a picture in the chat.
Yeah.
After of like what my face was like moments after, and I was terrified. I was so scared. I was like, oh my God, like I look. It was like off a movie. Is it, like when you say those people get stung by a bee and they're going to anaphylactic shock and their face swells up? That was me.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah. This is a sanctioned thing. There's somebody who puts it on, like you pay to go do it, and how many other people were doing it with you? Is like a regular service that they do all the time, or what?
Yeah, it was a regular service. So it was up in Santa Maria, which is like where they harvest all the flowers for the flower festival in Medellín every year. But it's also known, it's called Medicine Mountain or Magic Mountain, because that's where all the healers live, and it's where all like the shamans are and stuff like that. So it was all sanctioned. They had a paramedic guy there and another guy. One guy was from Portugal. The other guy was from or a native from Colombia. They do mushroom ceremonies. They do cacao ceremonies. They do ayahuasca, DMT. So it's all the natural medicines that they do there. So it was just me and my girlfriend that went for that day. So it was just two of us. It was safe, guarded. You felt welcome and warm. But it was that was my first ever cleanse that I did, and I went balls deep. I said fuck it.
The thing that a lot of people fear doing stuff like that in my country or yours is that because some of it's illegal, that if something goes wrong, they're too afraid to call for medical help. At least when you're in some of these countries where it's okay, even if it's not like, even if it's frowned upon, like if something happens, they will call help for you. They won't just be like, oh shit, throw them in the ditch. Like it won't be like that. So if they do all these things, it sounds like this is all the new age stuff, or not new age, I should say, but stuff that's becoming more popular. You said DMT, ayahuasca, all the things that most Americans and Canadians are trying to do. It sounds like they do it all in one place. So there's another fucking check mark in the good box for Colombia, for Medellin, or for the area, because that's another reason to go. Aside from all the great stuff, and everybody will have to watch the previous show about all the good experiences you had. That's fucking great, man. You could do it all in one place. You could cleanse your brain, your body.
And I mean, we can get a little political, but I mean, ever since I started looking at the stats and watching other podcasts, they're talking about this. The third leading cause of death in the United States is Western medicine. Makes me not want to do Western medicine at all. Like. So the medications that they're giving us to try and help cure what we have is actually the third leading cause of why we're dying. Like, it seems fucked up to me. So I mean, prior to my traveling days, I'd be like, oh, I got a headache, take an Advil. Oh, I'm sick, go to the doctor. Oh, I'd get medication, which it's a reactive measure, not a preventative. Right? It's like, oh, we're not going to actually find the reason why you're sick. We're just going to cure and help the symptoms of your sickness. Right. Where what this is, it's a lot of preventative measures. It's doing, cleansing your body, getting rid of toxins before it turns into something bad. Yeah. So it's making me believe, they call it, Chinese medicine or voodoo, or whatever they want to call it. But for even now, I feel so much more like alive. Like I feel thinner. I feel more alert. I have more energy. Like it's literally like a cleanse. It's like, what's that? What's that one movie? It's like, we got to cleanse. It's Ace Ventura. Cleanse the demons out of here.
Oh yeah, the exercise. Got the exorcisms.
Exorcise the demons.
Yeah. No, that's really cool, because you're right about Western medicine, and obviously some of it has their time and place. Like if I need a major surgery, that's one thing. But for the most part, the medications that they prescribe to us over here, they give you one medication, but it usually has so many side effects that it leads to another medication. You just keep like plugging the holes in the dam, like you're not really getting anywhere. You're just putting a Band-Aid, pun intended, Band-Aid on things, which is pretty fucked up. So there are a few things that probably work, but we've taken it way too far when there's a lot of holistic shit that, you know,
When
people don't want to admit to because the pharmaceutical industries won't make money off of that. So.
That's the thing. Because there's money involved, that's why it's falling apart. Like, my true belief is the governments don't want you to be healthy, but they also don't want you to be dead. They want you to be sick enough that you're on medication to make money. It's like the Industrial Revolution when World War I and World War II was happening. War, what boosted the economy? It was like they did everything they could to create more war because it created money and jobs. But now that it's hard to go into wars, like their next big money machine is pharmaceuticals and medication, right? So it's a war against us. And I mean,
absolutely.
For the, I think it was like $35 US for two of us, and we were there for 5 hours. And I mean, I probably purged more toxins and got rid of more bad things out of my body in 4 hours for $35 than you ever could in North America in a year for 10,000.
Would take multiple treatments of who God knows what. It wouldn't be nearly as effective. And then come to find out, like, you know, I've got a bad liver. This isn't a secret. Everybody knows I've got like a weak liver. It's okay. Like, it's not going to cause, like, it's hanging in there. It's fat. It's obese. Obviously, a lot of that's because of my heavy drinking over the last 20 years. But some of it's just because, you know, in my 20s and everything, I just took a shitload of supplements because they're like, take this, take that, and, you know, stuff that you could buy legally at GNC Vitamin Shop, whatever the Canadian equivalent is. And a lot of that damaged my shit too, just because any protein or whatever. So yeah, dude, all this stuff here is just fucking garbage. Well, this is an interesting turn. So, well, it's like for anybody who's interested, because people will see that shit and they'll be like, what the hell is this all about? So what was the process? You reach out to the guy, you find out where it is, you show up, like, just for anybody who's thinking about doing it, just kind of give us a quick walkthrough.
I'll give my girlfriend all the credit on this because she's great at doing research and finding these kind of things. She's been more into the, you know, holistic and spirituality and, you know, being more awakened and stuff like that. So she's always finding her way into networks and communicating with people. So she found a group chat, you know, it was more of like holistic medicine, because she felt that she needed to cleanse. So then I think she invited me. She just said she's doing it and asked if I want to do it. I'm like, I didn't even do any research. I'm like, okay, sure, right. Should have done some research on it. But yeah, so basically just like reach out to them. I think they have a little website and they have a WhatsApp chat as well. You can reach out to them on, and you just book a time and talk to them. And they speak really good English, so you can just go in there, talk to them. It was like a 45-minute Uber ride out of Medellín up into the mountains. So you go up there. They have nice. It's in this beautiful little like tropical mountain garden. So you walk in and there's like plants and birds, and they have dogs and cats running around, and it's just like serenity, right? So it's really nice, and there's not one part where I didn't feel very welcomed and warm. It was a very, very good experience. And I think every experience that I've had in this kind of world has been welcoming, right? And there's been, you know, I've gone to doctor's offices where they're just like, here, fill this form, take a seat, fill this form, take a seat. Like, it's an assembly line. But there, every time I've ever done like mushrooms or DMT or the Kambo or whatever it might be, or a cacao ceremony, it's like the most like embracing like community of people, right? They want to heal you, they want to help you, they want to make sure that you're going to be better in your life. And it's sure there's money involved, but I mean it's their time, the medicine. Of course, you got to pay some money, but they're not doing it because of the money. Right? They live in.
It doesn't sound super profitable. It sounds like they're just breaking even and doing it because they want to, you know?
They're breaking even. They're living their lives. They're up in the mountains, hardly paying any taxes, in this nice little like house in the forest. Like it's all just about helping the community, helping people, which is amazing.
Yeah. So it's not that far outside a major city. It sounds like you felt like very safe, very clean the whole time. So anybody who's thinking about doing it, because those are obviously the questions that run through people's mind. Like, oh my God, this sounds like a really fucking crazy treatment. Like, do I have to take like a donkey up into the mountains for 4 days or shit? So you took an Uber. It wasn't far, and it was a really nice, clean, safe environment. I mean, in so much as they can be, you know. So
yeah, we took an Uber up there, and then we took a taxi to the very peak of the mountain, and then from there they have a gondola that takes you from 50 minutes outside of Medellín through like the rainforest jungle, and then down the mountain, and you come into Medellín, and you hop on another gondola, and then there's this train station brings you right back into town. Like, it's very, very well set up. It's very
Jesus
cool.
Christ, that sounds great,
yeah,
man. This
Medellín is more. I think it's more advanced and more modern than most of the places I've been to in Canada and the United States.
So far, not one bad thing about Medellín. Well, except for that one story, if you want to tell it. But the Uber with the kid, it's up to you. Just something for people to keep an eye on. And I do understand the stress behind that because of quote unquote kidnappings and everything else. So we should probably touch on the odd stuff as well.
It was definitely. I mean, I could have done probably one thing better out of the whole scenario, but it was a fluke fuck up. So, my stepson, where he has summer camp in a different part of town. So usually, what he would do is either his mother would take him in the morning, or we take turns. And then so the night before, my girlfriend said, "Hey, like, why don't you just order an Uber for him, put him in the Uber, and send him to the location, let the camp know that he's coming in Uber, and then you can go to work." I was like, "Okay, yeah, that works." So anyways, we leave the apartment. I order the Uber. It confirms. I got the Uber right there. This is the one thing that I could have done better. I could have looked at all 6 digits of the license plate, because there's usually 3 letters followed by 3 numbers. But I usually go with the last 3 digits because
I don't do it either. I never look that far either. So yeah.
Right. So I see 580. I'm like, all right. So we walk to the front entrance. I see 580 sitting at the top of the road. He starts coming down. I wave at him. He pulls in. And then when I walk up to the Uber, he even said Cian. So Sean in Spanish is Cian. It's Sean. So they call it Cian. I said yes, or C. And I say, okay, buddy, have fun. I put him in the Uber. Then he asked me a question or something like that. I didn't quite hear what the question was. And I was like, no, solo por mi niño, voy para mí un taxi por la Selena, right? Just say something like, this is just for my kid. I'm going in another taxi. So they start driving off. And then I look up the road. I wave a taxi down because I can't order more than one Uber. I get in the taxi and then I tell them, Selena. So I sit down, I grab my phone, open my phone up, and it says finding a driver. And I'm like, what do you mean finding a driver? I already like it said driver confirmed. I had the license plate and I put him in 580 and I'm like, oh my God. So now I'm panicking, right? Because I don't think he has a phone. He doesn't have a phone normally. So I'm freaking out. So I tell the cab driver stop. I said, no, and of course my Spanish isn't that great where I can have like a panic in the moment. Like, oh, help me. I need my, son's over here. So I'm trying to ask if he has a radio. He doesn't have a radio. I'm going on Uber. So then I start going to text his mom, like, hey, like I need your help. And then she says, hey, I'm on the phone with Isaiah. And I guess Isaiah, luckily, brought the spare phone with him, which he's not supposed to, but he brought the spare phone. So I guess when the taxi driver didn't know where to go, because it must have switched of somehow, he starts, freaking out. So he calls his mom. Thank God he had the phone. So I, tell her I'm texting his mother. I tried calling her. She's obviously on the phone with him, so she doesn't answer. She's like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. I put him in the cab. I said it had the right license plate and everything. So then I tell them to go to Selena. I tell her to tell Isaiah to go to Selena because that's where I was going, and then I'll bring him home. So anyways, big ordeal. I'm waiting at Selena. Him and the cab driver show up. Luckily, I had cash on me to pay for his cab because it wasn't an Uber. And I recognized the driver because he was kind of getting frustrated. Like, you should know where you're going. I'm like, dude, like, fuck off, right? Calm down. So then we order another Uber. We get back to the apartment. She's, obviously hysterical because she almost lost her son. I'm freaking out because I almost lost her kid. I'm like, oh my fucking God. So anyways, so I walk back to the entrance and I order an Uber and I look and I get 580 again. I'm like, the fuck? And then so the cab comes up and it's the cab driver that Isaiah first had. And the cab, I'll backstory as well. While I was freaking out, I look in the cab that I was in, that I waved down, and I was in 580. So there was 2 cabs, one in front of the other, that both had 580. But the first 3 were different. Like, what the fuck are the odds of that?
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
So then I realized that, because I remember talking to my cab driver. He said, this is 580. I'm looking out, I'm like, holy fuck, this is 580. Then when I get into the cab driver that I put Isaiah in, that was also 580. And so it was just a scenario that was, it could have been avoidable in the sense that I could have looked at all 6 digits. But the fact that it was confirmed, I walked up to the cab, he said my name, I put it in that, and then all of a sudden when I get into mine, it says finding new driver.
I guess the good news is that, obviously it was an honest mistake, and then the drivers were all like, oh shit, it wasn't like some weird kidnapping story. It was just like, because they were probably just as concerned as you guys were. They're like, oh shit, we'll take care of this, and everything worked out fine. But it is scary, and I guess that's a lesson to, no matter how old you are in a different country, should probably give the kid a phone, at least when they leave the house.
By themselves, absolutely. I mean, that's a rule that we're implementing now, but it's a lesson that was learned the hard way, right? And we didn't really think of that prior to, like, oh, if he's going to Uber by himself, he should have a phone. We didn't think of that. And also because the night before he did something, wrong and he lost his phone privileges. So we actually said no phone for 2 days. Yeah. So it's hard to give him a phone when he's lost the privileges, but also be thinking we should probably give him a phone even though he's not. So there's a whole different aspects that went wrong. I mean, I definitely take responsibility for it because it ultimately comes down to I'm entrusted with her son. I should make sure that he's in the right one. I should have looked at all 6 digits. Even if I did look at all those, because it switched, I think it wouldn't have made a difference anyways.
Mistake aside, it sounds like, honestly, I would have done the same thing. You know what I mean? It's so, there's so many things that cascade down, especially the guy saying your name or whatever, or what sounded like, I never would have questioned that shit.
Never. Yeah. That's 2 digits are right. He says my name. I'm like, this is it. I can't be like, let me check this more.
Yeah, no shit. Oh my God. So then you stuck around. How long ago did you leave there? I know you've been traveling for a few days and you finally settled in Canada now. It's been about a week or so traveling, or?
So we left on, when did we leave? On a Thursday or a Friday? I can't remember. I think we left on Friday. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we left on a Friday. Yeah, so we left Friday. We flew from Colombia to Dominican Republic. And we had a 4-hour layover, but both our flights were delayed. And so this is another fucking great story. Yeah. So we get to the airport. I look at the boarding ticket. The boarding ticket said, boarding at 2, but it's incorrect because the flight got pushed. So we're looking at the window or the computer showing all the flights. It says 14:50 for our flight to Montreal. So all right, 14:50. So it's 14:20. We're finishing up food. And then we're like, we should probably go to the gate. So we go to the gate, and the flight's already locked. So they didn't let us know the boarding time. They let us know what time the plane fucking departs and leaves the runway.
Sure.
So we missed our flight from Dominican to the fucking Montreal. And of course, we're flying some airline that is shit customer service. So we didn't get any of our money back. We ended up having to spend $200 on a hotel near the airport for the night. And then we ended up spending close to $1,500 last minute tickets to get from Dominican Republic. We flew from Dominican Republic to Panama City and then from Panama to Montreal. So it was in total, we did 14 hours of flying in 2 days, and it ended up being $4,000.
Well, I'm also surprised when you were telling me when you were there how expensive the DR was, because the Dominican Republic to the Americas or to the Americans, I guess they're off an island. We're probably gonna get canceled for some of the stuff we say.
Dominican Republic and Haiti share the same island.
Yeah, they're on the same island. Yeah, but from my understanding, because I worked with a lot of Dominicans in Miami, that it was always a very, very inexpensive place for people to go. But it sounds like if you're spending that much at an airport hotel, shit, maybe not, man. Maybe
it wasn't an airport hotel. It was a 10-minute cab ride away from the airport. Yeah, it wasn't it was a quality inn. It wasn't anything fucking bougie and great. It was a quality inn, one of those pre-made the cookie cutter hotels that they put up with they all have the same pool, the same lobby. So it wasn't anything bougie and amazing, but the Uber from the airport for a 7-minute Uber was $10 US.
Jesus. Right? Well, that's something okay. Well, we're going to write that down then. So Medellín, nothing bad to say about it. Dominican Republic, you were there for 24 hours and spent a shitload of money, and we're not impressed.
I mean, we didn't really leave the hotel because we were kind of we're spending a lot of fucking money just being here, and they have flights we have to do, so we're not going to go venture out. But yeah, I mean, it kind of reminded me of a poor version of Mexico. Or it kind of just reminded me of Mexico, but expensive.
Traveling is stressful anyway. I mean, and I think that probably my girlfriend and I fight more while we're in transit than anything else. And of course, especially you got the little one with you, so that adds a layer of it. And I don't know why, man. When I was younger, if I met some girl that I was interested in or started to get to know her, I would always suggest that we take a trip somewhere. And it could be driving just somewhere away from. And now I'm thinking what a stupid fucking idea. Because the thing is, you go stay in a hotel and you may know each other a little bit, but you don't know each other a lot. And I'm you wake up in the morning, you're I hope that I have to go shit in the lobby. Like, like all these things, like when you travel with somebody that you don't think about, like, cause it sounds romantic in your mind. Like, we're going to do all this cool stuff. And then when you're actually doing it all, you're like, whose idea was this? So traveling is super fucking stressful. Where are you? I know Canada's huge. Where are you you're in Montreal now, but where are you in relation to where you grew up?
I mean, in relation to where I grew up, I'm 5 provinces over. So I'm basically almost on the other side of the country.
Not like down the road where you could rent a car and go check it out. You'd have to get on another plane.
It would be like a 3.5-day drive to get to where I live.
Basically, for Americans, it would be like from New York to California, probably like that far,
Not
like as far as you can get.
I'd say more like Chicago to California. To California, maybe Minnesota to like Minnesota to Los Angeles would be about the distance.
Yeah, it's still pretty far. But
it's quite a distance. It's nice. It's kind of nice being back in Canada. I was able to get some banking done. I got a bank card again. I was able to change the PIN on my Visa. It's one thing that is nice is all my credit cards are in Canadian. So whenever I'm out and I do the I always do conversions in American, right? Because I'm just everywhere you go, American is the currency. So it's $100. Well, I check my bank statement, it's $135, right? Or it's $500. Oh, it's actually $650. I'm like, God. But here, like I buy something, it says $100. I look at my bank statement, I'm like, it's actually $100. $100 of my money.
How long are you staying, and like what kind of accommodations you got there? How are the prices since before you were there, when you lived there before? I mean, I know you probably, I don't remember. I think you had your camper, right? So I'm not sure like what the whole situation is, but like, how does it feel being back? Is it any different from when you left, or?
So honestly, it feels like I'm still in a foreign country. Well, the reason why is because like we're in Quebec, so everywhere you go, it's fucking French. Everyone's speaking French. The signs are in French. The stop signs say "arrête." Like everything is in fucking French. So I might as well just be back in Mexico or Colombia because everyone's like, "Oh, comment ça va? Je voudrais." Blah, blah, blah. I'm just like,
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I'm in another country again. I don't even feel like I'm home because it feels like I'm in like France or something because everything's French. French people talk. At least here they do. Everyone does speak English at least as well, but their main language is French. So you can still kind of. Yeah. It's not like in Mexico where their main language is Spanish and they can speak kind of English. Like it's broken. Like hello, it's yes. No, here they're fluent in English too, so they speak really good English as well.
Plus French is like hard to understand also, like it's not really something that like like Spanish is like you can kind of, if you think hard enough about it, you can kind of communicate. French is just like I have no idea what the fuck you're saying. It's
well, I mean, I grew up speaking French until I was like 15, so I knew quite a bit. So like to me, a lot of the words are coming back to me now, like like grapefruits, pamplemousse, arrête, je m'appelle. Like I'm starting to remember a lot of the words now. But yeah, it's I find it. Sorry to all the French people out there who are watching this, but I find French kind of annoying. To me,
I've heard that. Well, I've heard that same thing from other people.
It's
yeah, I love it. Yeah, no, it's so weird. It's obviously a huge country, but it's really weird that there's an entire part that's just that much different, but I suppose, I mean, it's, so how are the how's the housing and the prices and everything there? I mean, I know it's Canada, it's probably not cheap, but
yeah, I don't think it's very expensive. I think it's pretty expensive here. So we're actually staying in a 3rd story, like kind of penthouse loft Airbnb for free right now. So
cool. Yeah, good.
Yeah, so we have free accommodations here because my girlfriend rented out her house to the people who own this place last summer or last winter in Playa. So they said, yeah, well, if you're ever in Montreal, you can stay at our place for free. We'll accommodate you. So we booked it. They kind of planned our trip because it's a free place to stay here.
Sure.
But yeah, prices are pretty expensive. I mean, like a block of cheese is like $30.
Cheese is always expensive.
Yeah.
What's that meme you find out as an adult? Everybody does cocaine and cheese is expensive.
Yeah. Growing up is realizing everyone does cocaine, cheese is expensive.
You're there for how much longer? Then you're headed to, I forget, New York next?
4 days, then New York City for a week and a half. I think like 10 days we're there for. And then
that's a long time to spend in New York. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't know if you spend any time there, but it's like punishment on your senses, in the sense that it's just like honking horns and traffic and noise. But it's cool though. You'll have a lot of fun, but it's like you just kind of want to like go in your room and put a mask on and put on like noise canceling earphones. There's like so much going on, man.
I've never been to New York before, but we're doing New York, and we're going to be staying in Brooklyn for a bit, and then New Jersey. So we're kind of moving around. We're not just staying like right in Manhattan.
That's good.
We're using our points for our accommodations there. But yeah, no, I've never been. I mean, there's the thing is the reason why we're going for so long is I've never been. There's so much to do, so much to see. I mean, you can't. I don't even think you could do all of New York even in 10 days.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, then we're doing a 7-day leadership retreat in California. So we're going there for a conscious intimacy retreat. My girlfriend's actually co-hosting it. So
what part of California is that in?
Close to Palm Springs.
Palm Springs outside Los Angeles a bit, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It's like Southern California area, I think.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's a beautiful area.
Yeah,
that's nice.
I've driven through there, but I've never been to that area before. So it's really cool. My girlfriend's actually co-hosting it, so she's gonna be doing one of the days. She's gonna be leading a couple of the exercises, to help re-engage your senses and intimacy and work with your inner child and self-help and stuff like that. So it's gonna be really cool. And I get to go. I'm going there. I'm going to be doing a lot of the videography and filming and pictures and stuff.
We got to do a show from there. And obviously we want to have her on at some point because her and Ori would get along as well because he does, that inner child hypnotherapy stuff. But yeah, when you're there, dude, we gotta get as much video. I mean, in so much as people without like disturbing anybody's privacy, but it'd be cool to see all that.
Yeah, maybe I can even get a couple of people on there to do like a group interview. We'd have like 3 or 4 of them in a row and kind of just they can all share their experiences on the last day or something like that and get them on because it'd be really cool to have and it's gonna be really cool. So I did a deal, so I'm going to be participating for like half of it just because I want to make sure I'm still able to work. I got some big projects going to be leading on. I am leading right now. They're going to turn into bigger projects by that time anyways. And yeah, I want to be able to make sure that I'm able to. So the deal I did was my fee is a lot less because I'm not going to be doing the whole thing, but I'm also going to be being able to work and record and take videos and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a win-win. I'm helping him out, the organizer, and I'm also able to still work and do what I need to do there.
That's good experience too. I mean, that's one more thing to throw under the production belt. There's no harm in that.
Exactly.
So
one more thing.
Man, well, I haven't done anything exciting in the last couple of weeks, so I'm glad you've had a bunch of experiences. I think this Kambo thing is going to be a big hit. That's going to be the title. Somehow that's going on the thumbnail with some fucking frog doing something. I don't know.
I don't know. So the crazy part too now is, so me and my girlfriend actually technically now have matching scars because these dots are going to scar up pretty good, right? So they get itchy every now and then. I forget they're there and I scratch them. Like, oh, it hurts.
I'm sure that's not pleasant, but it sounds like it's just a part of the ritual. I'm sure it's I'm sure it doesn't get infected.
Yeah,
because that would be the only I mean, I would totally do it, but I'm also an idiot. I can't wait to ask a couple people about that. Have you ever heard of this crazy shit?
How was your trip to Fort Lauderdale? I remember you went down there a little bit.
Jesus Christ! Every once in a while, because we've all had some crazy prior experiences in life. We've all done dumb shit. We still do dumb shit every once in a while. We still drink and do a bunch of stupid shit. But we're old enough now to know that that's not the way we want to live day in, day out. When I was down there, I was drinking every single day. There was always partying going on. It was just nonstop. A lot of work as well. So I'm working at the same time I'm there and all this other stuff. I try to make it a point. So whenever you still in the back of your mind, especially for men because we're stupid, you're still okay, I kind of miss some of it, or at least I think I miss it. So I think it's wise, and I can't remember who I heard this from, but they're like, instead of just ruining your life and going back to your previous stupid habits, just, hey, pick a week, pick a weekend, and go blow it out with your old stupid friends or whatever, and just try to do that once a year, maybe within reason. Try to keep it safe, and then remind yourself why you don't live that life anymore. Well, it worked because it took me about 5 days to come out of it. I probably drank, I don't even know how many handles of Tito's, amongst everything else. So it was a good time. It was back with my old housemates, which are, they're not tame people, but it was a really good reminder and it was a good time as well. I'm not saying I went down there and it was just a complete disaster, but it was definitely exhausting and it was nice to see everything. And that would be my advice to anybody, especially men, because some guys get in long-term relationships or marriages and they have families and they keep longing for their previous stupid days. Just tell your wife or your girlfriend or whatever, me and the boys are going to Vegas or whatever your stupid city is, and just go for a few days, and I guarantee you'll fucking come crawling back and be like, okay, I'm done, kind of thing. So, but I stay down there for I think over a week. We always like talk things up in our brains, or like we look forward to things, and then we build it up, and then we get there and it's not that big of a deal. So I thought, oh my God, I'm going to miss all these bars. I haven't been to all my usual spots in 3 years. I haven't seen all these people. It's going to be great. They're going to roll out the red carpet for me. After going to a couple of bars and hanging out, it's like, okay, same shit, same people doing the same stuff. I think the lesson learned there is it was what I needed it to be. I went down there. I had fun with my friends. I got fucking just whacked out of my mind. And when I came back, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to come back. And I wasn't productive at all for days on end. So, as you guys know, because you're trying to get a hold of me, I'm like, not now. Yeah, everybody has their Fort Lauderdale. Everybody has their place. But I would recommend, like for me, and I'm assuming it works this way for most guys, if I don't do something for a really long time, it doesn't just go away. It just kind of builds and builds and builds. If, anybody's thinking about like something they missed or some bad habit they used to have, I'm like, go ahead and do it. Just do it carefully and plan it out and go do it for a weekend. And then you'll get it out of your system, at least hopefully for a year or so.
And I'm wondering, do you think it's obviously better to do that sooner than later? In the sense where my mind is, if you, let's say you want to go, like, do have a blowout weekend, but you're also like, you're afraid because you don't want your girlfriend to think you're out cheating or doing something wrong. Well, I think it's better to just go out and let loose. If you wait too long, I think the consequences of your actions are going to be worse. Which, what I mean by that is the things that you're going to do are going to be worse than they were. So if you're, a married, happy, monogamous relationship, you're missing going out with the guys, having fun. Well, if you hold on that feeling for like 6 years and you're getting crazy, and all of a sudden it's like time to let loose, then you're going to cheat. Then you're going to misbehave even more. Then you're going to, infidelity. Then it's going to destroy your marriage because you bottled it up for so long, and then by the time you let loose, you're just like, I gotta fuck everything.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I'm fortunate to have the girlfriend that she trusts me, or at least she tolerates me, because she knows those people and she lived with us at that house for a while. She's like, I'm not going down there with you. So she knew better than that. But yeah, no. To your point though, that's a really good question, and I think you're right. I think if you wait too long, because look, if 3 years into a relationship, if you're all of a sudden like, hey, I'm going for a week to the Costa Rica. Okay. Like, what's this? Where'd this come from? So I think in the beginning, it's just smart to probably be like, and not everybody's a degenerate like I am. I know you've had your days as well, so some guys don't need all that. Some guys just need to have a boys' night every week where they just go out to happy hour and get a hangover. And then they're like, oh shit, that's right. This is why this sucks. I can tell you that even after the fact, even after as miserable as I was, coming back and everything else, I would 100% do it again, the idea again, because now I'm like, because again, I had all this shit built up in my mind. And when we have a chance to talk about my retreat, which will be a long episode, when I'm sitting in that fucking silent retreat for 12 days with nothing to think about, this trip was on the books. It was already planned. So I'm sitting there the whole time. I got nothing to think about. So I'm just building up like, oh my God, it's going to be the best trip in the world. It's going to be great. I'm going to see all these people. It's going to be fucking awesome. And then I get down there, and probably for the better, it wasn't a letdown, but I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, I think it just needs to be, there needs to be an outlet somewhere. And unfortunately with me, like people say, just exercise, just do this. I do all that, but it's not enough, So yeah, no, that's good though. I don't know, man. I would say, if in so much as one can be honest, and I know that most women, rightfully so, would probably be like, what do you mean every year, every 6 months, you're going to disappear for 4 days? I wouldn't surprise me if people didn't tolerate that, but I know the alternative is, like you said, you wait too long and then you blow up your entire fucking life, as opposed to just having a hard weekend.
The one thing that my coach mentioned as well is men, we need what's called cave time. We need time for ourselves with the boys. Like we need hibernation cave time. Like, as much as some of us might like being the family man and doing things together and having your spouse around and your partners, it's great. I love it, right? But there's every now and then I'm just like, I need to just sit in a dark basement, put on a TV show, eat some junk food. I just need some solitude, cave time to decompress and be by myself. And it's a very important ritual to have. I think every man needs cave time. And if you deprive yourself from it, and you're this, I used to thrive off being around people all the time, and I still do, but I was neglecting my, primal desire to just like decompress and gather myself, my thoughts, and plan and project my vision and manifest whatever it might be. I was just sitting there like, oh, I'm just going to do everything at once. La, 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 la. And then, comes to a point like, what do you want? What's your plan? You're like, I haven't had time to think about that.
I'm literally swinging between a hangover to happy hour to hangover. What do you mean plan? I mean, I've got a plan for later today. That's about it. Yeah, I know what you mean. And some of that comes with age too. Yeah, I think with age also, whether we like to admit it or not, we do all slow down and calm down a little bit. Everybody's different. Let's say you're just a guy and you're, late 20s or whatever, you're married, whatever, and you have like, God, I really just want to go with the guys to Vegas. I use Vegas because it's a stupid example, but people do. But, I wouldn't count on that feeling going away. I would count on it building and building and building. And I guess that's the big thing is just, don't try to shove it down, because if you do that, then when you finally get the opportunity, you're fucking moron. I tell this story back when I worked for the government. We used to travel a lot to help out other federal districts with their trials. So without getting into all those details, but like, let's say there was something big going on in another city and there weren't enough employees that did what I did. They would send us from neighboring places to go help out for three or 4 weeks at a time. And I was single at the time. And what would happen around my office would be, they say, hey guys, there's a 3-week detail. We're sending 4 of you to, this is true. We actually did go to Vegas. They were sending 4 of you to Vegas. It was a Hells Angels trial. They were on trial for some shooting at a casino. And the thing is, everybody's like, oh, you got to watch out for Peyton. He's single and he goes out all the time. I'm like, you ain't got to worry about me. You got to worry about the fucking married guys that never get out of the house. And guess what happened? I went out there and I'm like, I'll have a couple drinks. I don't care. It's Vegas. I don't gamble. The guys that never got out of the house, they went fucking crazy, man. Like, we're carrying them back. One of them lost his shoes. You know what I mean? Just stupid. So it's like, like people always just assume that because like some guy's been in a marriage or whatever for a long time, like, oh, he's calmed down. I'm like, don't count on that shit. That dude's been holding that shit down for fucking years, man.
It's fucking cage rock, and he's like, woo!
So anyway, I know not every human being is the same, but most of the guys that I know are in at least to a degree. And that would be my advice. Just if you're going to do something stupid, and if you think like, oh, I need to leave my wife or my girlfriend or whatever, just go for a weekend. And I bet you'll change your fucking mind,
Yeah, I think so too. Well, I mean, we had a lot of big takeaways from this podcast. We have, douse yourself in poisonous frog venom on your scars, to detox, letting loose.
Just drugs across the board. Just fucking drugs everywhere.
Drugs, good drugs, bad drugs, drugs all going around. The thing is you need to. I think detox is going to be the theme of this one, because you got to detox your bad habits. You got to detox, certain rituals. You got to detox the toxins out of your body. You got to detox the urges that you have, and I think there's many different forms of detoxing, and all of them are good, right? Because if you like, for me, the reason why my face swelled up so bad, I'll share a picture of it after, is because I haven't detoxed in years.
Yeah.
Right? So when it finally came time, like that the married man in Vegas, finally came time to going out and venturing or detoxing that urge, he went fucking wild, right? First time I detoxed my body, my face swelled up like a balloon because there's so many toxins. So you have to detox the habits, the toxins, the repetition. You just detox your life more regularly.
The bad thoughts, even those have to go. They need an outlet. I know the cliche or like the common advice is, go exercise. Everybody's got to do all those things for sure. But sometimes exercise isn't enough, man. It's everything. It's your diet, your sleep pattern, all those things that enough other podcasters talk about. We don't have to get into, but man, it's everything. Go to Canada, buy yourself a $50 wheel of cheese and sit in your apartment in the dark for a week.
It's called fromage. Fromage.
We'll catch you guys next week. And before we start talking about things that'll really get us canceled. All right, we're out.